My name is Elysabeth Alfano, your host of The Dinner Party. When celebs can't make the filming of my live TV roundtable talk show, I take the dinner party to them. Hydrating in style over Voss water, and with the help of my friends at Stobe Cookware. Here's a recent episode of The Dinner Party at the Sunset Marquis in Los Angeles with actor Michael Madsen and filmmaker and his mother, Elaine Madsen. Talk to me about the trickiness of when you've done 170 movies, if I counted right, give or take.
That's about,
and I
close,
think in 2016 alone, I think you're meant to have 11 come out.
If you believe the IMDb.
Okay, well,
that's a trap door, you know.
Okay, I went to Wikipedia, which is maybe worse. I don't know, but I think in 2015 it was either 11 or 15 that came out.
Well, I think maybe 4 is probably a better number in reality. I mean, the thing is that, you know, if you get on an elevator with somebody and they say, oh, you know, my brother-in-law wrote a script. And you go, really? And they go, yeah, you know, would you like to read it? And you go, yeah, sure, I'd like to read it, you know, because, you know, everyone told me not to do Reservoir Dogs. Right. Because it was a first-time director and nobody was in it. And they weren't paying anybody anything. Everybody was getting scale, you know. And until Harvey Keitel came on board, nobody really gave a shit about it. And everybody told me not to do it. But if I hadn't done it, I mean, how dumb would I be? Because, you know, it was a masterpiece of writing and filmmaking. And that's where I met, you know, Harvey Keitel, became godfather to my son. And, you know, so when I meet
Quentin
somebody,
as well, right? Isn't he also?
When I meet somebody who's as a project, I hesitate to blow them off. Because you never know when you're going to run into the next great filmmaker.
In that way, I would think maybe it's enjoyable to work with someone like Quentin Tarantino again and again, because you know what you're getting, you know it's solid, you know you're trusting him, you've got that personal relationship as well as that professional relationship.
Oh, he's the greatest. He's, I mean, I've done 4 with him now, and he understands me. Mm-hmm. Like, he knows what I'm gonna do before I do it, and he's very. I know he's gonna kill me for saying this, but I'm and I don't care because I'm sorry, but Quentin, you know what? I think I'm the only actor living who's ever been able to get away with saying things and doing things that were not in the script.
I read this about you.
And he gets so mad when I say it, or tell people. Even Sam Jackson got mad at me at a press conference about Hateful Eight because he said, "Man, Michael, you're not supposed to tell anybody. You're not supposed to say anything." And I said, "Oh, well, you know, I've already said it, so I'm already on the record as done it." But I always thought it was a compliment to him. And I always thought that he was complimenting me by letting me get away with it, until I realized he was getting all the credit for it. You know, I've kind of been to the top of the mountain, you know, with movies that made a lot of money and were very popular. And I've been down into the gutter with some of the worst crap that's ever been produced. And I've been in the middle, too. And so I've been greatly inspired and really lucky and fortunate in a lot of pictures I made that I didn't even appreciate at the time they came out. But because I've been at the other end of it, I learned from that too. And I rediscovered, from doing Hateful Eight, I rediscovered what it was that I was passionate about. It brought me back to the reality of appreciating what I do. I spent a lot of time making a lot of pictures I shouldn't have made because I was trying to put groceries in the refrigerator.
Yeah, we call him Gotta Pay the Mortgage movie.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, Dad, why are you doing this movie? Well, because I have to pay the bills. And people don't realize that. You know, most people think, oh, you know, they see a movie and they go, why is he in that fucking thing? Oops, sorry.
No, go right ahead and swear.
And they don't realize I did it because I needed to buy salami and eggs and milk and dog food and cat food. And
it's a job in the end.
Yeah, in the end, it's a job. It's no different from any other job, really. I'm not always going to be in a Tarantino film. You know, I'm not always going to be in a studio picture. And there's a lot of unforgivingness in the industry, man. Wow, you know, that studios really look down upon you if you've done a couple of B movies. They think it's over. But I've realized that it's a big cycle, and it's like, you know, you're only as good as the last thing you did. And, you know, all of a sudden, if you're in a successful movie, all the crappy ones you did are being re-released.
Right. So how
You know,
convenient.
Yeah.
And they suddenly become, even things that you did that weren't so good are suddenly reevaluated.
Reconsider.
Well, you know, maybe it wasn't so bad, and this and that. And I'm in a good place now, because I never quite understood the whole thing of it. I thought it was an accident.
How you fell into acting, you mean?
Yeah. I thought it was an accident, because...
You studied with Malkovich, didn't you?
Well, I mean, that story's kind of overblown. I mean, that's why I would like to be on this with you, and why I like these kind of opportunities, because you can set the record straight.
Good, go ahead.
You know, I went to see John in a play called Mice and Men at Steppenwolf Theater, and they were a basement theater company. Nobody knew them from anything, right? But I was a big movie fan of Humphrey Bogart and Robert Mitchum and some of these people, and I'd never seen live theater. I'd never seen actors right in front of my face, you know, as far away as these cameras are. And being physically there to see them do it, it was really kind of like, wow. I mean, I appreciated it quite a bit. John was playing Lenny, Gary Sinise was George. I mean, yeah. And so I signed up to do scene study classes with Steppenwolf. And we did one production of Mice and Men. Unfortunately, I played Carlson, the guy who kills the dog.
The unloved character.
Yeah, and we did one, you know, a run of for about a month of that. But that was it. I mean, I got bored really fast, and I left. And you know, I figured if I'm going to do this for a living, it ain't gonna happen if I stay here and study. You know, I need to go to New York or California and, you know, get serious about it. But the dog in that play was the best acting teacher I ever had, and it was much better teacher than John.
Thank you.
And I could have been in the south of France.
Oh, this is so much better. So much better.
My son, you know, he goes, Dad, why did you have to get killed in Hawaii Five-0? And I'm like, well, you know, that's what happens when you're a guest star. You get killed by the leading man, you know? You know, I get asked the same questions a lot, and so I try to be inventive with my answer. And I'm sitting there, and one of them goes, so, Michael, you know, what have you been doing while you're in Italy? And I said, oh, well, you know, I actually got to meet the Pope, which I obviously had not been able to do that, but I just made it up. And I said, oh, I met the Pope.
I wanted to be creative.
And and everybody was like, oh, my, you know, I realized that they believed me, you know?
Yes.
And so I was like, yeah. And one of them goes, well, what did he say? What did the Pope say? And I go, well, he asked me what it was like to work with Quentin. You know,